March 16th, 2024, I saw that PewDiePie drawing video, the second one, not the first one, and I was inspired to try to learn how to make drawings. You've probably seen like 1,000 videos about this topic. You get the idea. So, from the title, you know I spent about a year, and this is my progress. I guess before I get too into the weeds, I should tell what my methodology was. Basically, I tried to allocate about an hour a day. Sometimes I'd go over, sometimes I wouldn't be able to get a full hour. When I'm at work, I can usually get about 15 minutes on my lunch break, and later in the evening, before bed, I will try to draw for about an hour. Everything I drew was digital. Due to the way my job kind of works, it's a lot easier for me to bring a iPad around than it is for me to bring like an entire sketchbook. Also, I was concerned about having anatomy references and shit, and it'd be a problem. I was able to get an old iPad. To begin, I used a program called Medibang Paint, which is okay, but my pen at the time did not have pressure sensitivity at all, so a lot of my early drawings look like they don't have pressure sensitivity, which you may notice and go, oh, okay, yeah, your pen just kind of is either on or off, and that's it. They say limitation breeds ingenuity, but in this case, it's a little too limiting. To be honest, since I have zero background drawing, I didn't know where to start. So I kind of went to a Discord with a bunch of art people that I know, amateur and professional, and I just sort of asked them, where do I start? And they said, what skill level are you at? Where are you coming at this from? Because it's a lot easier to give advice if you kind of have that reference point. And I'm level 0. I have nothing. And they're like, nobody's level 0. Just show us what you got. And so I said, are you sure about that? And I showed them some scritchy scratchies I gave them. And they were like, yeah, you're doing this digitally, right? Are you, can you check you might want to check some of your sensitivity. I think you got some issues with your pen there. How about, can you draw something on a piece of paper and let us, check there? And I said, yeah, sure. And so I said that some scribbles on a sticky note, and they're like, oh, you just do that. Okay. So they had their work cut out for them. And me too, I guess, because, honestly, a massive issue early on is just making the pen do the lines I want it to make. I'd have to oftentimes, line confidence was terrible. And my handwriting was bad too, so I had I'm walking in with a dex of 4, if we're going by D&D analogies. I want to give a list of some of the art influences I use that I found helpful. I found a book at the library called The Art and Science of Drawing. Very good resource for beginners. Most other art books, they don't treat you as much like an idiot as I wish they would. They kind of assume you have some background knowledge. This one is if you know nothing, it gets you from 0 to a much higher place than 0, which is good. I found some other books. There was one, I'll find a picture of it. It's like a perspective handbook made by an artist that was a former architect, and you could tell looking at how he draws. You're like, oh, this guy did some blueprint drawings. That one's also really helpful. Other books, recently I got my hands on the Sculptor's Guide to Anatomy for Kinky Mations recommendation. That's very good, but I get into that way later, because you need to be able to make shapes before you could attempt to draw the body. So a lot of this early stuff is me just sort of figuring that out. In general, the process, the art and science of drawing explains is you're gonna start by learning how to make the lines you want to make, combining them into basic shapes, then combining those shapes into 3D volumes, and then once you can make whatever 3D volume you want, then you can kind of start getting into shading, perspective, figure drawing, anatomy, like that stuff. That stuff doesn't mean much if you don't know how to make your hand do the thing you want it to do. So, you know, as much as I would like to have this video be showing a lot of banger stuff, most of the early shit is just me bashing my head against that wall to get the lines to go where I want them to. It didn't help that Medibang, as an early software, has really good shape tools that are very tempting to just, I don't need to make a box, I can just have the shape tool do it. Which, if you need something like very precise, I can understand, but early on, you probably shouldn't be doing that. You should probably just be freehanding it, and even though it's bad and uneven, you're gonna pick up how to do it faster than you would by using these kind of cheat tools. I guess it's not cheating, but you know what I mean. You're cheating yourself. I looked at a bunch of YouTubers, Lavender Town's one. There's this one animation YouTuber who I'm struggling to find because the algorithm is so bad. But he basically, he had this video where he's like, yeah, if you animate, you'll be able to pick up drawing shapes and stuff a lot faster than you would otherwise. Because in animation, you have to make a billion shapes anyway. And that's what you have to do to learn how to draw. So this way, you're kind of just doing the shape thing, but at a much faster rate. And that was really good advice. I don't think I get into animation until like December, which was like 9 months in, 8 months in. But that was really helpful. I really wish I could find that guy's name. Though, to be honest, if there's like an art channel that talks about how to do stuff that has over 100k subs, I've probably seen some stuff and took from it. So I will credit all of them now and just say they all helped. Thank you. That's another issue with having this video be over the course of a year. There's probably hundreds, thousands of sources and like reference points I use that helped me get here. But because it's over such a long period, I didn't save all of it, and a lot of it I can't find anymore. So I just look like an asshole, even though it's like, no, I want to... So, I credit all of them. I asked a bunch of artists, people I knew for assistance. They were all extremely nice, extremely helpful, and comforting. No joke, that Discord server where I asked those artists, if those guys didn't help me as much as they did, I would not have made it as far as I have, because those early months are rough. And even the later months can get rough too, when you get better at perceiving your own mistakes. Okay, editing Wilson here. A couple things I missed. I have changed my drawing software from Medibang to Procreate. It is much better. I think it's probably the best drawing software on iPad. Highly recommend it. For animation, I actually use something called ToonSquid. There's a Procreate app as well called Procreate Dreams, I think, that you could do animations with, but it does not have a lasso tool, so I didn't want it. And I got ToonSquid because it does have that, and it has a couple other features that Procreate Dreams is missing. I like both softwares a lot. I also eventually did get a Apple Pencil, which is the only stylus I'm aware of that has proper pressure sensitivity. I think all the other ones just don't have that. By this time, I should have ran out of random stuff from the year to show you. For the capstone piece, I went back and forth on what I wanted to do. A couple of the images at the end there were intended to be the capstone, but there were problems with them that I didn't really want to use them specifically. So instead, this, my capstone piece, which is not perfect, mind you, but I feel that it kind of shows off a lot of different things that I picked up and that I found out that I enjoyed. working with. Found out this year I really like hatching. I like doing that a lot. I hate cross-hatching. It's disgusting, degenerate, vile, but hatching is very cool. And I like to work that in. She could probably use a little more hatching here, actually, on her, but at the same time, I feel the contrast of her not having as much kind of helps her pop out. Kind of going back and forth on that. I'll think about that more later. I really like the Skullgirls kind of art style. It's not just a Hodds style, Alexa Hodds, but it's kind of like a slightly simplified version of it that's a little easier to work with. That's one thing I noticed when researching art styles is almost all of them I look at and I find like one thing that I don't like. But the Skullgirls one's like the only one I can think of where I like everything they're doing. So that's kind of why through the years you may have noticed I do a lot of that. But I did try to look at other styles as well. The one before, let me put it on screen. This one was supposed to be the capstone initially. After I finished it, all I could think of was
trite, contrived, mediocre, milquetoast, amateurish, infantile, cliche and gonorrhea ridden peon to conformism.
And looking back, there's still stuff about it I don't like, but one thing that editing this video helped me realize a lot is there's this natural kind of instinct when you're drawing where you make a thing and like you hate it. But editing this video kind of forced me to like look at the reality of I have improved, regardless of what the thing in my brain says, like that I'm bad and I don't know what I'm doing. Looking back at the stuff I made in March and April that just looks like a total mess versus the stuff I make now, there is objective improvement. There are very definitive things that can't be argued with. It doesn't matter what my brain says, where my brain is like, you're bad, you're bad. It's like, you just hold up the truth to it, and even it goes, yeah, you're better than you were. So, as much of a pain as this video was to make, it's also very helpful, and I'm kind of glad that I did. I intend to keep drawing in the future. I found I really enjoy this after getting past the initial awful, painful stages. I have this really big urge to make some kind of like project kind of thing with this and showcase it somehow. But my art attention span is far shorter than all my others, and I keep bouncing between different ideas, so I don't know what that will be, but I think I will eventually, hopefully, land on something that I can do to showcase, maybe here or maybe on, like, somewhere else. I don't know, but I definitely want to keep going. So thank y'all for watching this far. I know this channel's been kind of dead for a while, so I hope that you enjoyed my magical experience learning how to make drawings. I wonder if I'm in the art club now. Am I allowed to call myself an artist? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. And let me know if you have any, like, you know, suggestions to get better. Because I do want to get better, and the only way I'm going to learn is if someone tells me. So go ahead and go nuts.